went shh. Hey! I thought I was dreaming. And he goes, I can't feel my hands. I can't feel my hands. I'm going to die. Hello and welcome to Irunbelle. My name is Tope if you're seeing me for the first time, and in this video I'm going to be doing something different. I'm going to share a story time. Can someone say story, story, a story, once upon a time. Okay, yeah, so I'm going to be sharing the one time I fought an armed robber. So over the course of my life, I mean, I'm still young, yeah, but I've been robbed, they've stolen from me. The other ones were not robberies, but yeah, I've been robbed once, and I've been the victim of stealing or theft like multiple times. Like, I have so many gist. If you're interested in hearing the other ones as well, drop a comment below, but this one, let's get into it. So I'm going to be doing my hair as I share this story time, but this is not the tutorial on how to do the hairstyle that I'll be doing. I'll be doing rope twist. So if you haven't seen the video about how to do rope twist, make sure you check that out. It should be up on the channel now because I'll be posting that first before this video. But just think about this as a salon chat. You know, when you go to the salon and you're just with your hairdresser or your friends or your family and you're just having a good laugh. Yeah, that's kind of vibe I'm going for. Now, this thing that I'm talking about is not something that was funny when it happened. I mean, it was very traumatic, and you know, it's one of those things that when you look back on, you laugh. But let's just get into the story, the gist. So I have my hair twisted up, but the patterns are not tidy, so I'm sort of going to be reparting as I go along. And my hair is very moisturized because I washed it just 2 days ago, I believe. Yeah, so I won't be adding any leave-in product to my hair, but I'll be adding some water. I'll just mist it lightly with water. Yeah, and it's properly detangled. I properly detangled it before doing the twists that are there. So when I was in uni, from my second to fourth year, I used to live in a BQ in the staff quarters. My mirror is here, that's why I'm looking there if it seems that way. And so I used to live in a BQ in the staff quarters, somewhere called Ijoma Road. And at some point, you know, we used to have this guy that used to come to our BQ. I used to live with 3 other girls. There were 2 BQs, like 2 joint BQs. I don't know how best to describe it, and 2 girls in each room. So while we were there, we had this guy that used to come and peep at us. You know, there are times when we would go out and we would find that somebody has cut the net to have a peek into our BQ, you know. And at first we thought he was just like a peeping Tom, some kind of pervert that wanted to see girls when they were in a, not properly dressed. Forgot to spritz it some water first. Yeah, so he used to come to the BQ, he'll cut our net, he'll peep, you know. We had all those worries about what's this guy trying to do. We'll make sure we lock our rooms. We even got like a carpenter to make us this cage like thing that they use for chicken houses or chicken cages, just so he wouldn't be able to put his hand through our regular window to open the door from behind while we're sleeping. You know, we got like a special jam lock. We got carpenters to just make the room sort of like more secure. And we're thinking about our belongings, you know, but we thought we had gotten a new jam lock. We put the chicken we put the chicken cage thing, got a carpenter to install that so that he wouldn't be able to put his hand through and open the door, you know. So for some time we have been dealing with this guy, and we actually even gave him a name. Like I said, where we used to live was called Ijoma Road, and so we started calling him Mr. Ijoma. So we used to call him Mr. Ijoma. And there were times when like would go out to pee at night because the bathroom and toilets were outside the actual BQ rooms, even though it was like in the BQ compound. There are times where you wake up at night and you see somebody staring, or would see him, looking through at us. So it was a very kind of like freaky, like what's all this? But we're not so bothered. Like it got to a point where, I'm not sure I'm supposed to be saying it on the internet, but we had like a potty in our room and we wouldn't go out to use the bathroom at night. Instead, we would do our stuff in a potty, and then in the morning you would empty it, just so you don't run into Mr. Ijoma, or he doesn't follow you in to the room while you're sleeping, while we're sleeping, and while it's at night. So all that happened, and then one day, okay, backstory. I bought a phone. I bought HTC One, and then this phone was like the best phone that year. It was so expensive. I remember it was 99,000 naira in 20. I think that was 2015. Yeah, sometime in 2015. So imagine 99,000 naira. I don't know how many dollars that would be, but I'll try and do the conversion and put the figure up. So I'm looking at this and I think I made it too close. Yeah. I'm going to redo it. It's too close. I want it to be well spaced. So that's how I bought my HTC One. It was a very fancy phone. And this was a phone that I worked for with my hard-earned, energy, stress. It was hard-earned money. Like I worked for the phone. Nobody bought it for me. And I was a student, so it's not like I was working. But I mean, all the pocket money I was getting from my parents, I saved it. I also had like scholarships while I was in uni. So basically, the money that I used to buy the phone then was my savings from my pocket money and some part of my scholarship money and investment money, because I used to invest my scholarship money then while I was in uni. So I bought this phone. It was a very shiny silver phone, I was like a big girl then, basically. Somebody that was using a very nice, fancy phone. And I had a laptop as well. What else do students have? Yeah. And then I had like a Nokia Palasa phone. One very small. So Nokia Palasa is like the cheapest Palasa if you're not Nigerian, and Palasa is not a term that you're used to. So one night, we were in bed. I remember then, because of Mr. Ijoma, like there was a time when things got really bad. Like he used to come to the room a lot, would repair our net, he would cut it again, And there were times when like I used to dream of this guy, that Mr. Ijoma was in the room. I woke up, Mr. Ijoma was in the room. So we started taking knives into our room just to help us feel safe. By the way, we had reported to like the university security that we school Abefele that we had this guy that used to come to our room at night to watch us, And they didn't really do much. I mean, they said they couldn't do much since it's not like he had committed a crime or they could come to watch us or anything like that. So on that particular night, I did not take my knife with me. Again, when we go out for classes, we used to make sure to hide our laptops while we're away from the room, just so if he comes during the day while we're not in the room, he wouldn't find them. So on that particular night, I hid my laptop. We also used to hide the laptops at night. I hid my laptop in the spot where we used to hide it. Normally every night I hide my phone as well. But on this particular night where this just happened, my friend and roommates, she's not just my roommate, or she wasn't just my roommate, yeah. So she was watching Vampire Diaries, I can't forget. And then I told her, babes, Ola, please, when you are going to sleep, I want to charge my phone, my precious HTC phone. That when you are going to sleep, can you help me unplug it and hide it where I used to hide my phone because of Mr. Ijoma? She was like, yeah, sure, no pee, So I went to bed and she continued watching Vampire Diaries. I remember I was wearing a white t-shirt that my cousin made for me and just some underwear. So I was sleeping in dreamland, enjoying myself. I just heard bah. I woke up and like everything just happened simultaneously. So I heard bah, and then my friend jumped on me, and she was like, Fatty. So my middle name is Fatty, and then my friends call me Fatty. She was like, Fatty, oh my god! And then I just saw this guy in our room with a mask on his face and with a bottle, a broken bottle in his hands, and then he just went shh. Hey! I thought I was dreaming. I thought I was dreaming. I closed my eyes. I opened it again. I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like somebody's in this room. Mr. Ejama actually broke into our room. So I started praying. I was just like, and I was like, keep quiet, shh, bend your head now, bend your head, don't look at me, bend your head. And then he took my friend's laptop because she was watching Vampire Diaries on her laptop. He took my HTC One. That phone was shining as he was taking it. The phone was just shining. And so he took the phone, and then he took the Nokia Palasa, and he took my friend's phone. I don't remember what phone she was using then. I think it was like a BlackBerry, because BlackBerry was like the sort of like next big phone then, like a BlackBerry Touch or something. So that's how he carried everything. Me and my friend were hugging ourselves, shaking, bending just on the floor, just like, don't look. And she said, Fatty, and we're praying. And then this guy took everything, and then he left. Now remember I said there were 2 BQs, so 2 other girls in the other room, they were sleeping, and then 2 of us in our room. We had just been attacked. So as this guy left our room, immediately he took all the things he wanted. There was a laptop bag there, just perfect for him. He had everything, packed it nicely, put it in his bag, and made to leave the room. So as he left our room, I just stood up and closed the door back, and stayed behind the door. And then my friend and I were shaking, Tracy. And then next thing we now heard another bam. So this guy was trying to open the door, break into the door of the other room, kicking it with his legs, So I thought that after taking our stuff now, that he would just go away, run away like a thief that he is, or an armed robber, because basically he had a bottle. And once you have a bottle and you commit a crime, that's a weapon. So under Nigerian law, and I think most of the laws in other countries, that is armed robbery. And there was intent to hurt us with it, because you basically threatened us that if we don't give you our possessions, then you would hurt us with the bottle. So that's like clear-cut armed robbery. Anyway, that's how Mr. Ejoma decided to be greedy. He wanted to rob the girls in the other room as well. So let's see what's going on with my hair here. Some sort of tangles. How fun. I thought I detangled you properly. Don't do this to me. Okay, yeah, so that's how Mr. Jama was trying to break into that room. I don't know what just happened in my head. Like, I just got angry. So I opened the door and saw him there. And I think as he now saw me, he decided to now run away. So he was running away, and in like the BQ, there's a fence. So he was trying to climb the fence to go, and he had the back on his back, So as he was just climbing, something just sparks in my brain, like that's how I dragged this guy. He was making away climbing. I just dragged him down. Bah. That's how the fight started though. As I dragged him down like this, I called my friend. I don't know if I'm supposed to say her name or if she'll mind, but let's just call her T-Girl. Yeah, that's her nickname. So that's why I just said T-Girl. I didn't say T-Girl in that point. I called her by actual name, but yeah, I was like, T-Girl. She came to action. She's kind of chubbier than I am, bigger than I am, So that's how we started fighting this guy. We removed his mask. We saw his face, and we started dragging him, and then he would try to make away. We were slapping bars, he would hit us this, and then it was not like 2 against 1. We started fighting. There was this shoe rack like outside the BQ. At some point he was trying to run. Run. I carried the shoe rack. Wooden, hard, I'm talking about hard wood, correct wood. I carried the shoe rack, hit it on his back. Bah! Dragged him down again. We started fighting. At this point, the girls in the other room, they had woken up, and we're calling their name. Somebody and somebody, come out, come out. We have him today. We're going to something. Come out. We'll catch him. We're like really bold. I don't know where the energy and the guts and the everything came from, but we had time for this guy. We said today is today. Every day for the thief, one day for the owner. So we felt today was the day for the owners, So that's how we were fighting this guy. Fighting. This thing that I'm talking about then, it lasted like a few minutes. It felt like it was forever, And I don't think he expected it. So of which, when he was trying to run away, that time, the first time when I dragged him, his bottle broke. His broken bottle, his half-broken bottle dropped on the floor and broke, shattered. So he didn't have his supposed weapon again. He was no longer armed, So it was just a matter of two girls fighting one man, And at some point again, he tried to climb the fence. We would drag him down. Then he threw the laptop bag over, the bag that had all the things that he stole. He threw it over. So that's how we start calling the names of those other girls. You people, come out, let's get him. Because it would have made more sense to have like 4 against 1, But I guess like somehow there's this survival instinct, because this guy too, he was really, really, really trying to escape. Like, he didn't want to be caught. And we were really, really, really trying to catch him, So that went on and on and on. And so that's how... Oh, what am I doing? Sorry, I'm so confused. I'm looking for the thread. oh. Okay. Found it. I don't remember which direction I was going. So happens when you talk. I think I was going this way. Yeah, I think I was going this way. I'm just trying to focus before I start gisting and I get carried away. Yeah, so that's how we start fighting. Carried plates, broke plates, carried this, broke this, carried gas cooker. We had this like the camp gas cooker, Those are some of the things that we hit him with, but and I think also was our BQ, of course. Like, we knew where things were things that could hurt him, So we hit him with the gas cooker, we hit him with plates, we hit him with the shoe rack, We kept on fighting this guy, and we're shouting, "You people, come out!" They were saying they could not find their key. They just not come out of their room. They're saying, "Hey, we can't find the key." And we're like, "Come out!" And then this thing was like in the midnight. I think it was like around 1 a.m. I remember. And we're shouting, and I feel like with all that noise we're making, even our neighbors should have heard, even though like the staff quarters, like the houses were quite space. The space between the houses, was a lot. But even our landlady and her family, they should have heard something, of which they heard. Also, we had like security lights outside the BQ. You won't believe that on this particular night, this evil Mr. Ejoma, this thief, armed robber, armed robber, he removed all the security lights. So it was pitch dark, like black. Normally, there should have been some light around the room. So all this fighting and stuff, we couldn't see very well, We could just see from the light that was inside our room because the door was open, and then just being familiar with our BQ and where we used to stay, So we're fighting, 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 fighting. Like when he beats me, like I'm fighting him, and then he throws me somewhere and overpowers me. Then my friend would take over. Then there were times when it was like two of us against him. When he tries to climb the fence again, we'll drag him down and continue, So he just couldn't make a way. Then he was going to where we used to keep like our cutlery, plates, forks, spoons, and all that. And I felt like he was trying to grab a knife. Normally, we don't leave the knives outside. Like I said, we used to keep the knives inside the room to just help us feel safe in our own BQ. Having knives used to make us feel safe. Well, like I said, the knives were not in the room on that night. And so, Mr. Ijoma, that had been coming to our room for a very long time, I guess he knew our BQ just as well, just as like us, so he knew it. So that's how Mr. Ijoma was trying to get a knife, and my friend and I were trying to stop him from reaching the knife because we knew what he wanted to do, and we knew that if he did that, then the dynamics and the power play in the fighting that we're fighting was gonna change. So he kept on trying to go towards the knife. We'll drag him, we'll fight him, we'll do this, we'll do that. But somehow he got to the knife and we did not know. So what happened was, at some point he had the knife, we're fighting him, he caught my friend on her hand. She didn't know because, of course, she was busy fighting. Both of us didn't know we were busy fighting, and then there was so much adrenaline just coursing through our body. So she didn't know, I didn't know. We're still fighting him. We didn't even know that he had the knife until at some point where he sort of like overpowered both of us and was about to climb the fence again. And we wanted to do the usual, drag him down as he's about to climb, and then he goes, okay, I have my scissors, great, and he goes viciously, like he was so vicious with it. I had to pick my comb. He was so vicious, and then I was just like, organo vex. I surrender. So that's how I surrendered though. And then my friend, of course, T-girl too, was just like, I surrender too. And so we just did like that. And he climbed the fence and he left. You will not believe. Guess when those girls opened their door? Oh dear. Just as Mr. Ijoma jumped the fence and left, that's when they found the key to their room and opened the door. And then when they now opened the door, they're like, that we were looking, we're like, why didn't you guys come out? And then they were like, they were looking for their key. They couldn't find their key, or which we also used to hide our key because we didn't want him to find it. And there are times where we leave like spare keys somewhere in the house, so we started hiding things. But I mean, it was their room. They will know where they hide their key. They would, but who knows? Like, you'd never know how you would react when things like that are happening. So they said they couldn't find their key, and then as we're talking and trying to say, okay, call Abefele, which is what we used to call the university security then. We're like, call Abefele. And he already took my phone, he already took T-girl's phone, so we're asking them for their phones to call Abefele. And we had like Abefele's number on our phone because, like I said, this guy had been harassing us, disturbing us at night, watching us and all that. So we had like security number on standby. So while they were trying to get their phone to call Abefele, that's how they noticed that there was blood on my shirt. Like I said, I was wearing a white shirt that night. It was, of all days to wear white. So I was wearing a white shirt that night, and then that's when they're not like, Fatih, you're bleeding. And like I said, they used to call me Fatih then, that's my middle name. And so they're like, Fatih, you're bleeding. And I'm like, I just saw blood all over. Like, there was blood on me. And I was like, where is this blood from? Like, how am I bleeding, you know? I'm going about like just checking myself, checking my shirt. And then that's when we looked at my friend, T girl, and then on her hand, was like this massive blood, massive cut. You know, she had like a massive cut somewhere around here. And then there was blood gushing out of her hand. And she didn't even know. Like, she didn't know. I didn't know until those girls were like, Fatih, you're bleeding. Like, and I'm like, where? Like, how am I bleeding? You know? So it turned out that Mr. Ijoma had actually cut my friend. And she didn't know. And we used to live in a BQ. We didn't have a car. It was like the dead of the night, 2 a.m. You know, for you to get a taxi, then it's impossible. Except maybe we have like a private taxi guy on standby for you or something, you know. So we didn't have a car, none of that, nothing like that. So we knew that we had to get my friend to the hospital. And then it was at that moment T-girl started becoming dramatic. Somebody that had been bleeding since, blood all over my shirt. She didn't say anything. At that moment she's like, oh, I can't feel my hands. I can't feel my hands. I'm going to die. I'm like, oh my god, T-girl, you guys, what are we going to do? This, that. And then we're running helter-skelter. And then we ran to our neighbors, so like opposite our BQ. We had this neighbor then, a guy that had a car. And so we ran to him and then we banged his door like in like, bah, 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 bah. And then the guy just woke up, whoa, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? What's going on there? You know? And so I was just checking to make sure that the video is still recording. Because sometimes I don't have space on my device. Yeah, we're still recording, so we good. So he wakes up in the night and he's like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? And then we're like, we need help. Please get us to Jaja. Jaja is what we used to call the University Health Service, the clinic, you know. We're like, Tracy was caught. Please get us to Jaja. Please. This. And it's like, oh my god. And mind you, I was still in my white t-shirt, just a white t-shirt, you know, just a short white t-shirt. Like that. And I had run to this guy's house. And then we're like, help us, we need to get to Jaja, this, that, blah blah blah. And so he took us all to Jaja. Like he got ready, came out of his BQ, went to his car. That's when I now realized that okay, I'm still wearing this shirt, so I need to be properly dressed. So I ran back, got a wrapper, tied the wrapper around my waist, got into the car, and then went to the clinic. When we got to the clinic, they're like, what happened to you guys? Are you okay? Are you this? Are you that? And then they thought, and the thing is that fine, T-girl was the one that was bleeding. But I was the one with blood all over my white shirt. So everybody thought that was the one that was hot. So when we first got to the clinic, they were even looking at me like the nurses were trying to get to me first because they thought like I was badly hot. I'm like, no, it's not me. It's her. It's T-girl, you know. And then they saw her hand and she said, I can't feel my hands. Guys, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. T-girl, forgive me for saying this just like this. But this was a very serious thing. T-girl probably thought she was going to die that day. It was all my fault because I was the one that said, let's go and fight. This is why they say when your friends are telling you to do some things, you don't have to follow them. If they tell you to put your hand in fire, they think about it very well. T-girl, someone had to join me in fighting. She followed me as a good friend that she used to fight an armed robber. Me, nothing, no cuts, no nothing, just blood on a white t-shirt, you know, and I was good. But T-girl, she's the one that suffered for it till today. She has that massive scar. So that's how they carry T-girl. They tried to attend to her, you know, took her into the clinic. So they rushed her in, took her to Lord knows where. I don't know where they took her to, but they took her somewhere. And I guess they were fixing her hand, like stitching her up and all that. But for me, they also just like checked on me. Are you okay? Are you this? I was like, oh no, I'm fine. And so we had to quickly go to Abefele's office. You know, we went to Abefele's office, the security office, to tell them that we had just been robbed. And when I got to Abefele's office, I still went there with my bloody t-shirt. And so the security guys were like, "What's wrong with you? Are you okay? This, that, something." And I was like, no, I'm fine. It's my friend's blood. It's not my blood. It's my friend's blood. And they're like, "Your friend's blood? Like, what's going on?" You know? So I'm just trying to get my thread. I hope this will be long enough. Let's see. So I was like, "It's not my blood, it's not my blood, it's my friend's blood." And like, "Your friend, we're just robbed. Ijoma Road, the guy, blah blah blah. This. That's how they took me and the other girls and followed us back to the BQ. And they started doing like a search around the area looking for Mr. Ijoma. But they didn't find him. I don't know where he went to hide. They didn't find him. They started asking us questions, you know. In between, somehow, before we knew it was like 4 a.m. It was already getting slightly bright, you know. They kept on asking us questions. What did he look like? I described him. What did he have? What did he wear? You know, those are some of the things that they used to, the information that was going to help them with the search, to identify if they had just seen a male guy between clinical height. You know, he was about my height, so maybe like 5'6", 5'7", slightly taller than I am. So they were looking for a man matching that description, dark skinned, straight. You know, they're looking for a man dark skinned, matching that description, with a bag, you know, sort of looking for someone like that around that entire axis of Ijoma Road and the surrounding routes, you know. So go back to our room. Of course, I thought about calling my parents, but he had stolen my phones, 2 phones, and I also didn't want to worry them. Then we're thinking about T-girl that was still in the hospital. Went back to check on her. They had fixed her hand, giving her drugs and all that. And then we went back to the hospital as well. They made me see a doctor. They gave me, like, the doctor was asking if he like abused us sexually, not just like the cut and all that. They were like, "Did he touch you? Are you girls okay?" You know. And then like the doctor was very, very nice. He did really well. It was a man, you know, but I didn't feel uncomfortable discussing anything like that with him. He asked nicely, "Are you sure you're okay? Did he touch you? Did he blah blah blah?" You know. And I feel like the healthcare, the clinic, they did really well in terms of how they handled everything. They gave me like drugs, painkillers, drugs to help us sort of like deal with the trauma, because apparently, like, I did not know that I would be traumatized, but they're like, "You're bound to have some PTSD, so you need some drugs to help you relax. Your body is going to be very hyper and on the edge and all that, so you need to relax, you need to sleep, you need to..." By the time it became very bright and we went back to our BQ, if you had seen this crime scene, oh my god, broken plates everywhere, the camp gas, the head of the gas are detached from like the actual gas cylinder, the what's that thing, the wooden shoe rack had blood on it, and there was blood all over the floor. Things were scattered, plates flying around, like just all over the floor. We had a line where we used to spread our clothes. The line had caught, you know. And so that was that. Then our own room, the door of course had been broken into, so the lock was bad. It was just wide open all that time when we were away. Our landlady too realized what had happened, because of course by the time security came back and all that noise, cars coming, She woke up, she was worried, she's like, oh my god, that she was hearing stuff, but that she wasn't sure whether we just had friends over and we're making noise. And it's just like, oh, these kids, they are making noise and whatnot. That she was going to have a word with us about like noise making and all that. Yeah, so that happened. Then I couldn't stay in that room again. We couldn't stay there. So that day, we moved to another friend's BQ. I'm not even sure that made sense really, because the same way this Mr. Ejema had been attacking us in our BQ, coming at odd hours of the night to look at us, cutting our net and all that, he had been doing the same thing to our friends that lived in a BQ nearby as well, and they were all girls too. So it seemed like he used to go after BQs where there were only girls, because there were people like guys that had their BQs as well, but they never complained about anybody watching them. Okay, it's going good, looking good. They never complained about anybody watching them, so it seemed like he just had his modus operandi. I'm not sure that's the right word, but he had his operating model and had the way of just going after certain people. Maybe because he thought like we being girls will not be able to fight back, he would just steal from us and get away with it easily. He did not know that he was going to encounter Tope the warrior that will come and fight him and give him a hard time, make his mission not very easygoing. So that happened, and I know then I had like on my HTC I had this trace your phone blah 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 thing, all those phone finding things, but it wasn't working. I think he turned off the phone, possibly removed my SIM card, and so that's how that happened. Mr. Ijoma got away, robbed us, caught my friend, gave her a nice scar on her hands today as a reminder of that terrible night. I had like PTSD. I thought that I wasn't going to feel anything, but at first we moved to BQ. Later on, like just staying in a BQ didn't even feel safe, especially given that he had been visiting those girls as well, people in the other BQ. And just told them that, guys, you guys need to be careful, like you need to double up on your BQ security. So I had to go to stay, myself and T-girl, we had to go to the actual school hostel to stay with one of our friends. Like I said, this happened in my 4th year. So in my 5th year, I did not bother staying in school hostel. I didn't bother staying there at all. I didn't bother staying in a BQ rather. I had to move back to school hostel because that was just safer. Like I was just scarred from like the whole BQ experience of Mr. Ijoma. So we moved back to school hostel. I'm just looking for the next yarn to cut. So we moved back to school hostel. I don't know how people just heard the gist. And of course, when you see a girl, it was around exam time as well then, when you see a girl that has a cut on her hand, and in school just has gone around that 2 girls fought a thief and one got caught. Like it was very easy for them to know that it was T-girl, and then T-girl and I used to work together, so it was very easy for them to know that, oh okay, it was T-girl and this other girl that fought. And then people were like, oh my god, I hope you guys are okay, they'll see us on the road. I was like, but you guys are so brave for fighting. And kind of like I felt like I will not say celeb, but I kind of felt good that he didn't just rob us and get away. Like he got a good beating. Like he would have had to use like Panadol, not even Panadol, like ibuprofen to get over the pain that he would have suffered from all the fighting. This trade is trying to run away from me again. That he would have had to suffer from all the fighting, So we didn't make it easy for him, and he did us wrong too, because he still got away with all the devices. I didn't even think it was about the phone for me. It was just like anger. Like, of course I miss my HCC one, because that phone, at that stage I couldn't even tell my mother how much it was. Like, if you are Nigerian, you know how like sometimes parents can get when you buy something very expensive, and they're like, how will you buy hair? So I remember then, like, when my mommy asked me when I bought the phone, and she's like, how much is your phone in Yoruba? Hello, ni phone here. I said one ridiculous amount. Maybe I said like 30K or something, And even that 30K is just like, it's so expensive, How do you buy this kind of phone? So imagine if she knew that the phone was 99,000 naira. I didn't tell her that it was. So of course the phone, it hurt that somebody had just stolen phone that me I was using to do shakara in school and using to be happy with myself, because I thought I was going to use that phone for like 3 years. I was really happy about it. So that's how Mr. Ejima stole that. He caught Tracy, made me move out of my BQ because I just could not live there again. Like, we went there, packed all our things, moved to the BQ like I said at first, and then ended up moving in with some friends in student accommodation for a while. I remember then, like, some people that knew that we used to live on Ijoma Road, like, they were not sure it was us. So they're like, they robbed two girls. They're like, could it be Tope and T girl? Like, could it be them? Like, is it them? Is it like, what's going on? But they couldn't reach us because our phones were no with us. He had stolen it. So I guess that also confirmed to them that it was us, So that's how that happened, though. They didn't cut Mr. Ijoma. For a while, I could remember his face, but now I honestly cannot. I know he had like a slim face. He was dark skinned and he was fair. I thought I would never forget his face. Well, I do. And Mr. Ijoma is one of the reasons why, like, I just hate armed robbers. Like, for you to just want to break into somebody's home in the dead of night to steal from them, even if it's not even in the dead of night, just coming into somebody's place to steal. Like, if you want to steal, be a petty thief, and maybe somebody leaves something carelessly, steal it. But once you come with a weapon and you have that guts and the wickedness in your heart to want to just make somebody, a fellow human being like you, go through something like that, oh my god, like, I cannot understand. There's nothing you can tell me that will make me understand why somebody will be so wicked. And so that's how I was scarred. I had to move away. I used to have bad dreams about Mr. Ijoma. So even though people will see us on the road, I'm like, yes, you guys fought him. That's good. That's very good. Don't worry, your hand will heal. People recommended all sorts of all sorts of stuff for T-girl to use for her hand. They're like, oh, use snake oil. It will make the scar go. Use this. It will make it go. The hospital to the clinic, they gave her stuff to help her skin heal and all that, but it was a bad experience, bad but fun, because I never knew that I had that kind of stuff in me. Like, we gave that guy a good beating, like a really good beating. Just checking again that this thing was recording, because imagine giving all this gist only to find out that it's not recording. And that has happened before. Like, the time I did cornrows and apparently I was facing the camera in the wrong direction. I didn't know. So I finished, and yeah. Well, yeah, so guys, that's it though. That's the end of the gist. I don't know that this hair will take this long. I've finished gist. I'm still doing the hair, but yeah. If you've ever been robbed before, like, how did you feel? How did you get over it? What happened? It's not a good thing, no. It's not a good thing at all. Like, the trauma that comes with it is not at all. Yeah, so that happened. Anyways, I think I'll leave this. I'll stop here for now and finish my hair off camera, but I'll leave a clip of just showing you the results of how this turned out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. It was just nice to gist, actually. And yeah, I'll see you again soon.